Okay, we're here with Garo today. He's a medium in our group and a good friend of mine. I trust him very much. And from the reactions from people in the group, I know that everybody loves you. So I thought it would be a great idea for them to get to know you. And I know you wanted to talk about some things too and ask me some things. So if you want to start with that first, we could start with that.
Thank you, Rita. I love everyone in the group as well. It's been a pleasure and honor to meet so many lovely members here. It's incredible. The feeling is uh, unified across. Everybody's warm. There's a common element here. People are very kind. I love this group. Absolutely love this group.
Thank you. I love it
So
too.
um, I am fascinated at how this group grew quickly and how you can manage the numbers. I mean, I know you've got a good team of moderators,
Definitely
but
is
I
what makes.
but I'm wonder sometimes just how much work goes into managing a group of this proportion on a daily basis.
It's hours. Believe it or not, it takes hours to go through the posts. We have pending posts because we like to look at them first to make sure we don't let spam in or scam artists. So we have to read every post. So we get over 1,000 posts a week, and we have to kind of go through them. So as the group grows, I just keep adding more moderators because they're all volunteers and they put in a lot of hours, and they're really good people. So yeah, it takes a while because we also have to go over the comments too. Like we have to look at the comments, we have to look at the people who are trying to get in. And as far as how it grew, I think it's just because it's a mixture of metaphysical, paranormal proof, and then we get a lot of people that are grieving and they come in and they're looking for proof that their loved ones exist. And I think that's how it's kind of like just blended together. So we have like two different groups of people and it kind of just works together. They're both, they're helpful towards each other. So I think that's why it grew so fast. And then the name is catchy too, I think.
Did you envision that this is the direction, this is the end goal basically when you started the group?
No, when I started the group, I started it because I was actually grieving. I lost my father, and I've been into the metaphysical stuff since a little girl. I've seen spirits when I was little. My mother died when I was 2, so that was the beginning of my interest in trying to reach and contact the other side. And I just dabbled in everything as a young girl: tarot cards, Ouija boards, meditation, and then I learned about EVP. My father passed away a few years ago. Let me see, it's been about 9 years now. And that's when I learned about EVP. That's how you get recording, spirit recording. And I was following someone on Facebook, watching them do it, and I thought it was fake, like a lot of people in our group think. And I honestly thought it was fake. I thought he was making it up, and I decided I'll try it for myself. And I started recording and learning how to do it. And the very first time I tried, I had my mother that I didn't think I'd ever meet again. I wasn't sure if there was an afterlife, and it killed me thinking that she died when I was 2 and I might not ever get to know my mother. So that was really what got me focused on trying so hard. And I really believe the more you try to contact the other side, the more it opens you up. And that's what happened with me. The minute I listened back on that recording, I heard my mother, I heard my father. They were saying our names, they said clear sentences. And once I got that, I thought I need to make a group. And that's how the group got started. Like, I need to make a group and share this with other people. I need them to learn how to do EVP and to learn other ways if they're not comfortable with EVP. So that's really, how how it grew like that. That was the original intention.
So really, you started off with your interest in the paranormal,
Yeah.
and that led to uh, the group to include the bereavement side of things as well.
It just naturally, because just like me, it was natural for me to learn that way because I was grieving and missing my father. So it makes perfect sense to me that people that are coming in are grieving and looking for the same thing that I was. And it's mostly grievers in our group, but a lot of them do learn how to, get that connection, or they find mediums like you. I'm very picky about who we let do readings in our group, and to me, it's very important that they get a real and accurate reading. I don't like messing around with stuff like that when it comes to the afterlife and people being sad. I don't like putting words in spirits' mouths, so I want to make sure it's authentic, and I want to make sure that people walk away feeling like they really made a connection. So that's
100%. I agree with you. We are dealing with fragile people,
Mhm.
people in bereavement. It's a very sensitive issue and topic. So I fully agree. And yeah, they must be vetted, whoever is in service or offering a service.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you meet a lot of resistance in the beginning from starting such a group? Did you get a lot of people lecturing you, oh, don't do this, you're dabbling in things you don't know, that sort of thing?
We get it all the time. We still get that. And that's just from people not understanding. It's their belief system that they were brought up on. They have certain beliefs. I have my own beliefs I do it from a scientific and research type of way. I respect people that are religious. I respect people that aren't religious. And I go in there not knowing. I always say, I don't really know exactly what's on the other side. Sure, I can have faith, but I always wanted a little more. And when I did EVP, I get a mixed things. Like I had gotten some messages that surprised me, and I realized that my loved ones are not sleeping, like a lot of people believe. A lot of religious beliefs, tell them that their loved ones are sleeping or that they don't want to be disturbed. From my experience only, and I do notice that people have different experiences too. My loved ones want to talk. They are like my father's a ham. My friends' loved ones, they come right in. It's important to them that we know that they exist. It's so important to them. That's like one of the main things that I get a lot from loved ones is they don't want to be forgotten. Don't forget me is basically the message I get a lot. They want us to treat them like they're still family because they are still family and they're still here even though we don't see them. If you just speak out loud to them, you will hear that they will hear you in an instant. They'll be right by your side listening to what you have to say. And I don't want to hog up the conversation, so I want to make sure that you share your insights on that too. As a medium, you get things differently than I do. I get things through tarot card readings, through EVP, through meditation. I have visions sometimes. Sometimes I hear voices, but I'm not polished like you to give readings that way. So let's hear about how what do you get from the other side? How do you, what do they tell you on the other side? That they want to be heard? I'm sure as I know, that they are not sleeping.
Uh, Far from sleeping. They're far more awake than we are, in
Mhm.
fact. What I get, Rita, is after I've prepared myself for the readings, uh, when it's time for me to meet with a client, um, about 10-15 minutes before that, I sit in the quiet and I say a little prayer and I open myself up, basically. That time is the critical time because that's when the loved ones on the other side link to the person who I'm going to give the reading to. They come forth without me having linked with the client first. So their mom, their dad, their children, or whoever might come forth. And when they come, I see the same sort of expression on their face as when you are, let's say, in the arrivals gate at the airport and you see somebody coming through, you haven't seen them for a long time. The smile, the beaming smile, the excitement is remarkable. They know
Wow.
what's about to happen.
I
Okay.
have
And they,
chills thinking about
yeah,
that. I
and
know
they are
exactly what you
there,
mean.
filled with joy. And I have to calm things down. I have to calm myself down, especially when it's a child and children come with the beautiful innocence. And when they come through, they have such excitement built in.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel like, yes, I'm glad to be doing what I'm doing here. Because one way or another, that love, that excitement translates and goes across to the recipient.
Yeah.
And that's when it touches their heart and they understand that, oh, it's not game over.
Yeah.
And they are there and they're super happy to see me, to link with me. So this is the best satisfaction I get from what I do.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And children too, that's a big topic. There's people with a lot of questions. We'll take some questions too soon. I have to get used to the way, because the chat room kind of disappears if I don't keep reading it. I don't know if it does that for you too. So we're not ignoring you. I just can't see you yet. So when we're ready to take questions, I'll take a peek. But some people ask things about children, so I'll ask you your opinion on this too. And I'll give mine too, even though it could be controversial to some people. Um, but they'll be happy to know that miscarriages, that's a big thing. We get this question a lot in the group. Here's the questions that we get in the group that people argue about or get upset about. But I like to talk about it anyway because it's important to a lot of people, so it's important to me. Suicides, miscarriages, and abortions. Those are the topics that get everybody riled up. And I'm sorry if it gets you riled up, but I want you to know. Um, We'll start with suicides. They are not in purgatory. They're not being punished. They're actually being taken care of. That's my experience from what I've heard and messages that I received. What is yours?
Absolutely the same. I'm fully aligned with what you've just said. Uh, there is no purpose in hurting someone who is already in pain. That pain drove them to take their own life.
Right.
Now, it means that they are suffering so badly that they took the one most precious thing in themselves, which is life.
Yeah.
So what's the purpose in punishing them further?
Right.
There is no purpose. If there's anything that we have to understand, and all religions, well, the main religions speak about God as love. Well, God is love. I can't see how God will be punishing someone when God is love.
Yeah.
A person who has taken their life needs help, not punishment.
Yeah, and they get it. They get it on the other side. From what
Absolutely.
I understand, they have spirit guides. They have relatives that just kind of swoop right in when they
Absolutely.
cross over, and they
Absolutely.
could still be hurting when they're there because a lot of people think the minute you cross over, you're happy and joyful. No, they could still be. They're exactly like they were here. So
Yeah.
they do hurt. They feel things. They feel anger. My father, I have so many different emotions from my father on recordings that I could share with people to prove to them that he's not running around with a harp and angel wings. He's still exactly the same. He's got a sense of humor. He gets angry. He's told me to make up with my brother. He was upset with me because I didn't. Same with suicides. When they first go over, they're sad. They're upset. They might even be worried about their loved ones, that they hurt their loved ones. And a lot of times I've heard that they immediately know that they made a mistake and they're sorry, and they're sorry for the pain that they cause, and, they don't want that. But they do get help and they grow spiritually. And it's kind of like a little hospital setting for them, if you want to imagine it that way. They have people that are caring for them mentally and physically, and they do, they get better and they get happier, and they're around you. So, I know it hurts, but, understand that, they couldn't help themselves. That's my message to people with the people that are hurting from people that have, done that. How about you?
Absolutely agree with what you just said. That's how it works. That when they arrive there, they're taken care of, and there's a purpose why they're taken care of. Because my communicator a long time ago told me, he said, imagine a large puzzle. Every piece has to fit. If a piece is not fitting correctly, then it has to be made to fit properly so that it completes the picture. We are all linked, we are all united, and if one of us is not in a good way, then they have to be put in a good way to come back and form the picture.
Right.
I hope I made
No,
myself clear here.
yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
So that's the purpose it serves.
Thank you, Kathy. I see you. I see you guys. For some reason, my chat popped up. Okay, so children, we have a lot of people in our group that sadly, lost children. There's so many. That I think that's probably the biggest number of people. So there's a lot of hurt people because of that. They're worried about their children. Um, they're worried about their miscarried babies. Some are worried about their aborted babies. Um, I'll just give a short what I know, and you could tell me, tell us what you know. You will meet even aborted babies are still family, and they're part of life lessons, in my opinion. Everybody can have their own opinion. I don't want to upset anyone. I know it's a really, it's a sticky topic, but from my opinion, and from other mediums that I've spoken with and recordings that I've gotten myself, that's why I'm saying this, that they do come through and they are not angry. They still consider themselves family and they love their family. Um, it's different on the other side as far as anger and blame or forgiveness. They don't have that. So they love you. They still see you as your parents, as their parents, and their siblings as their siblings. And children, in my experience and my own personal experience with a baby I had that's on the other side, I got messages. I didn't even know his name. I didn't know it was a boy. And I found out that he was a boy and he has a name from my ex's dad named him and was caring for him on the other side. And I found this out through EVP and that blew me away. And I actually kind of scared me a little bit too. Like it kind of, took me back a little bit. But yeah, they even have, if you have children that weren't born, they will probably have the name that you were going to give them. And if that wasn't decided, they get a name from their loved ones. So I thought that might be something interesting to share with you guys too. And they're around you, like they are around you if you take your other siblings to the amusement park, they come for that stuff. That's what I was told by my child. That they're going to the music, anything fun or anything family oriented, they love to be around you and they're there with you. So I just thought it'd be nice to let people know that too. What is your experience with getting readings from children?
Um, Children is a very sensitive topic for me because I adore children. I'm a big fan of children. I love them. But when I'm working, when I'm in service, I have to separate my emotions and just focus on the end result. As far as I'm concerned, and this is only my opinion, okay? As far as I'm concerned, where there is life, there is spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And spirit is basically doesn't have beginning or an end.
Right.
When we are talking about a child that has passed or been aborted or miscarried, this is only the physical side of things. There's a broader picture here.
Yeah.
The baby has a spirit, and that spirit lives on.
Yeah.
And that spirit may represent itself as a baby for identification purposes, but there is more to that spirit.
Yeah.
Because that spirit, exactly. So that spirit comes from a realm which has no beginning and no end.
Mm-hmm.
It was one incarnation. It came here, probably aborted or miscarried or maybe died as a child, but it doesn't mean that that child is lost forever.
Exactly.
No, on the contrary.
No.
That spirit lives on, and perhaps it will come back in another incarnation in the future. So
That I'm not even sure about with reincarnation. That's one thing I'm not sure about. I don't know if it's because I don't want to reincarnate, so that's why I kind of block myself off from that. I've heard different things. That's such an interesting topic too, whether we reincarnate or not. I think most people believe that we do.
I don't know, Rita. I don't know. I don't think my mind would grasp it. It's too complex for me to understand. But I do know from one thing, my personal experience, when I went with my wife to Mexico, and and there was a sense of familiarity there. I've always told her things in the past, and I felt a bit of familiarity there. It was a wedding, and suddenly we come back from the wedding party, and she was horrified, and she said, "I spoke Spanish all along the journey with the driver. I don't know a word of Spanish. I didn't know anything about Spanish. How it happened, why it happened, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Could I have been reincarnated? Maybe, I don't know."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably. I just don't like the
yeah.
idea of it because I'm like, I'm so tired. I just don't want to, you know, I want to go on the other side and spend it with my family. But, you know, I guess when we get on the other side, we're a little more enlightened and it makes more sense. And this little trip on Earth is probably such a short period of time that that's why we're happy to jump back in again. And we
Yeah.
know that we have a soul group, so we're all going to meet up again. And maybe it's just like a fun video game in a way. Let's hop back into, you know, virtual reality and, you know, have some more fun with each other. We'll learn some more experiences. So, you know, I can understand that, you know, it's a learning experience so that we have to keep coming. That makes sense to me.
It's comforting to know, well, at least if it was a fact, I don't know, but if it's a fact, it'll be comforting to know if we have the option of not coming
I
back.
think we
So if, you know, if we are given that option, then trust me, I'm going to be there for a long, long
me
time.
too. Me too, because I'm going to be skinny. I have it all planned out. I'm going to live on the beach. I'm going to
Yeah.
be skinny. I'm going to eat a lot of chocolate. I'm going to do all these fun things that I can't do on this side without paying the consequences.
But Rita, you won't be able to stay there too long because you're going to be itching to come back to ban people.
Yeah, probably. If I see my group getting out of control, I'll probably have to come back. So the other thing was, let's see. Oh, I know I mentioned to people, some people in the group are concerned that their kids, their children are speaking to imaginary friends. And let me just, because somebody asked a question about their baby becoming an angel, or do they stay inside mom? Does that baby? No, that baby, I think, well, we kind of discussed that. The baby's on the other side and they grow. They don't stay inside you. Maybe they might come back again, you know, if you get pregnant again. I'm not sure, you know, I don't like to, I'm not very educated on that subject, so I'm not sure, but those are some things that I've heard that they can come back. But as far as speaking uh, to imaginary friends, and people get kind of freaked out by it, you have to understand when they're little, they are still, what is the word? The veil is still thin for them. They can still see the other side. I believe they plan exactly who their parents are going to be, and they might even plan it with us before we get on this side. And so when they get here, it's not so strange for them to see spirits. My kids saw spirits. My little boy would go inside and complain about us. Anytime he got mad at me and my husband, he'd go inside and you could hear him just like complain. And they wouldn't let me, you know, have chocolate, or they would let me have, you know, ice cream before dinner. Like, and he was talking to someone, and this went on for years. And I noticed in the group too, that it's around the age of 5 or 6 that they stop seeing that side. And some people say, well, it's because you told them to stop it. And I don't agree with that, because I always encourage my kids being spiritual and knowing what I know. I always say, oh, well, who's his friend? What's their name? I never act freaked out about it. And they still kind of just closed off from it. So I believe there's just a certain age where it just does close off for some, or some continue on to be mediums and get stronger and stronger, picking it up. How about you?
Um, I do believe children see them. I mean, I have a young daughter, and I've seen her react to things unseen by the naked eye. Uh,
Yeah.
when she started walking, I'd see her freeze suddenly in a corridor in the house and look as if she's seeing something. So I know children can see them. I saw them many times, and I know you saw them as well, Rita. Um, why we start to not see them as we grow older, unless we develop the ourselves, or
Yeah,
I
it's
think
weird.
the world dictates we have to be with the 2 plus 2 equals 4 equation.
Yeah,
I, the education system I know polluted my mind,
yeah,
especially from where I was in Lebanon, where I grew up. Um, it's instilled in you that it's either black or white, full stop. There's nothing else. And that really destroyed a lot of things. And I had to come back in full circle and see that, hang on a minute, what I was seeing when I was a child is real.
yeah.
And and I know that now it's 100% real after all the readings and everything I'm doing at this time.
With
Um,
me, with fear. Like I knew I could connect to the other side, and I noticed I can do it through the Ouija board and tarot cards. But a lot of people are very afraid of the Ouija board. I'm not really sure my feelings on it. I could tell you I didn't have good experiences with the Ouija board, but I also was very scared when I was using it. So I think if you know what your mindset is, if your vibration is lower, you're going
yeah.
to attract lower. And I think that might have been the problem because there are some people that say they enjoy it and have no problem with it. We all have our different choices on what makes us comfortable. And I notice the things that I'm more comfortable with, I get better experiences with. Don't have, I know for some people it could be scary to make contact with the other side. They hear like the EVPs and they sound a little spooky, but I believe it's because we haven't perfected the sound quality yet. They're coming in a different frequency. They're louder. I mean, they're lower, their voice is lower and they're way faster. So when you try to use technology to slow it down and you don't have the right technology, it might sound a little weird. And I'm not good at it, so mine sound kind of sound a little weird. But yeah. That's the
Um,
other factor too, is being afraid. You can't be afraid if you're gonna make contact on the other side.
you made reference to the Ouija board. I think in the right hands, it wouldn't be a major problem. Uh, I mean, you're a medium yourself. You're attuned, you're very sensitive, and you're very grounded at the same time. So if you were to operate it, then it's the same as if a pilot is operating an aircraft. They know what they're
Mhm.
doing. They're in control. Now,
Right.
if you bring an average person and you say to them, fly this airplane, they're going to crash. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
And
to learn.
this is my fear with Ouija board. Unfortunately, a lot of people are drawn to it without having been prepared, without having done the fundamental work on themselves and learned how to deal with both sides of life. Um, I was fascinated once when somebody came to me, they were very troubled. And they explained that they had been doing the Ouija board with their friends. And then I said to her, how do you know that it was a good spirit coming through? And she said, well, I asked them, are you a good spirit? And I said, look, this doesn't really work. Ask me, are you good? And if I am evil, I'm not going to say, oh no, actually I'm quite evil and I've come here to cause a lot of problems. I'm going to say, of course I'm good. So they miss the obvious and then they pay the price for it. And then the thing gets a bad name.
Yeah. Well, they need to know how to ground themselves with any work like this. You need to, even tarot card readings, you need to ground yourself first. If you know Reiki, that's great. Raise your vibration, do meditation, do prayer, surround yourself with white light, ground yourself. That's really important before you do anything like that. And then close
100%.
it off too. You got to close it. You have to make sure and sage your house if you're gonna. I know it sounds silly, but you want to, clear the air, and it's mostly mental. You probably could clear the air without sage, just envisioning and doing certain steps, which I think I have some stuff in the group that's already but I will post something for people too in case, so we don't have to go through all of that. But yeah, that's important too.
100%. These are not an option. These are fundamental prerequisites and requirements during the process and post the process. In between readings, I open the windows, I ventilate, I let the energy disperse. and I always make sure I'm closed down. Closing down is fundamental, absolutely. There is no two ways about this.
What if we could take some questions? Does anyone have any questions while we're yapping away? Looking to see if I missed any. I don't see any. Do you see any chat? Sometimes it's hard for me.
Uh, I'm sorry, I'm challenged visually, so I
Oh,
can't see very much, but
I'm sorry. I don't see any questions right now.
no, I'm not seeing questions.
Okay, so we'll just go. If you have a question, please feel free to ask, and we'll answer it the best we can. I wonder if what did we miss? I know there's some things we discussed talking about. I don't have them in front of me. I did want
Uh,
to ask you. I wanted to ask.
Pets.
What happened? I did want to ask you how you started. How did you develop your mediumship skills?
Okay, thank you for asking me this. This is, again, the comments that I'm about to make and share are my own. Every person has their own progress in life in their own way. Uh, I started to see them when I was a child. I started to see uh, these beautiful beings from the other side. And I wasn't scared, I was just intrigued. I never felt fear. When I grew up more, that's when I started to see things that weren't as pleasant as the first batch of people who I saw. On occasion, I'd see things that were not very pleasant. So, for instance, if my dad or mom would ask me to get a glass of water from the kitchen, I'd go to the kitchen and I'd literally be shaking because in the kitchen, I always felt there's this woman who never harmed me in any way, but I'd always felt that she was behind the window and looking in at me. And that used to scare me. In hindsight, now I wouldn't be scared because it's just someone trying to make contact. But so anyway, I was intrigued as to what's going on in life. There is something out there, and I was fascinated with the paranormal.
Me too.
I tried to learn on my own and books and so forth, and then I found that that's not the way for me. For others, it might be the way, but for me, it wasn't.
I
Long story
start
short,
reading about it.
um,
I used to get books too and read all about different ways, and that's all.
yeah, and back then there wasn't any internet, so you couldn't really watch on-demand documentaries or anything. And I come from Lebanon, where the subject is
Yeah,
taboo, so you're not allowed to even discuss it.
yeah.
So as I grew older, when I moved to England, here I found that the subject is wide open. So it was like Alice in Wonderland for me. I started to explore and learn whatever I can about this. And eventually, when I met with a dear friend who is a therapist, a psychotherapist, and she is a medium herself, and she helped me discover my gift. Because back then I was drifting and I was involved in things I shouldn't have been involved in.
Oh,
And she sort of set me right to help me find myself. And in time, I started to discover more and more. And I never thought I'm going to be doing readings, Rita. Uh, um, this I was sort of led to it. Um, I never imagined I'm going to be here doing what I'm doing right now. Um,
yeah. It's just your life journey.
it, it
It's
is,
where you were meant to be. We just kind of end
yeah.
up there. Yeah.
But it took 10 at least 10 years of personal development, working with my friend who is the psychotherapist, in dealing with my own issues, dealing with my emotions. And I do have a patch of life where I went through abuse, where I was abused, and physically and mentally and psychologically. So I had to overcome all these pains, overcome all the challenges for me to be able to connect with others.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
That makes sense.
so
Your
yeah,
vibrational level needs to be higher, and it can't be if you're way down by, say,
definitely, definitely. Uh,
fear.
because you need to be able to cushion the blows, as it were. You know, you need to be supportive without being judgmental. You need to put yourself aside. Here we are in service of God, the higher power, the light, whatever it is, but we are in service of humanity, and it's not about us. So I had to work hard. And coming from Lebanon, you have to work even harder, because in Lebanon, the male is God,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Man. So I had to work very hard on myself to be prepared for what I'm doing.
And I see there's a question for you too. Let me hold on. I have to put on my glasses. I really need contacts because I hate wearing them. Hold on a second. Okay, Pam says, love this conversation. Does Garo have any suggestions on how people can make contact with their loved ones in spirit on their own? Yeah, we both have a lot to say on that. Go ahead, Garo, and answer that.
Um, I'm not advertising my service here, but I am running a workshop, and I have a few people from the group who joined, and some people from outside the group who joined the workshop. And I'm taking them step by step on how to open up, how to become attuned, how to use visualization, and how to understand the symbols, the sensations, the feelings. So there are workshops you can join. If not with me, there are others who offer them.
I didn't even know
And
that. I would have joined. I'm actually planning the same type, almost the exact same type of thing.
okay,
So
well done.
we need to get into each other's workshops.
Absolutely. So, so Pam, I would say join a workshop, join a circle, as it were. You don't have to be physically there nowadays. We do all our work on Zoom, and it's fantastic. So that's the best way forward.
Yeah, just practicing. Like in my group, the other group, Afterlife 101, I invite everybody into that group to practice reading on each other. I'm going to do some workshops to teach people how to meditate and other ways that you can kind of get more abilities just by dabbling in the field opens you up. So that's how I notice it myself. So, I want to tell people about that, about tarot card readings, meditation, especially. Self-guided meditation is awesome for opening yourself up and making a connection on the other side. And we'll touch base on that. And Pam does this type of thing too. So it's funny that you asked that question, Pam. Pam is, she's in our group and she's got a lot to teach and talk about too. So we're going to be having a chat soon too. Let me see what the other question was. I think somebody was talking about shadow people. Sorry. My sister and I both saw a shadow person when we were kids. What do you think a shadow person is? That's a good one because I'm not sure about that. I've never seen them, but I heard them in the group mentioned so much. Guys, thank you for all the love. I see, look at all the little hearts in the corner there.
That's good.
Do you know anything about shadow people? Because that's one thing. I don't know what the heck. I've seen a spirit, but it wasn't a shadow person. He actually looked like Abraham Lincoln. When I was 3, me and my sister saw him together at my grandmother's house. I guess you could say it was haunted. And I only saw him one time. I experienced a lot of crazy things with him. I don't think he liked kids too much. I'll go into that later. But he was a prankster type of spirit. But he was not a shadow person. I could actually see his face. I could see right through him, and he looked like a shadow, but I don't think that's a shadow person because I could actually see the outline of everything on him. What about you? What's your idea of
I've
a shadow person?
I've had experience with shadow people firsthand. I've had one haunting me for a while, basically around me, and especially when I'd go to bed, just before sleeping, just before drifting off, and I'd see it in the corner of my eyes, and sometimes it would position itself right up close to me, as if laying horizontal right above me. and I'd feel the energy, and it's absolutely stifling, and it's not
Feel it.
pleasant, Rita.
Yeah, you know when they're not nice.
No, you
It's
know.
heaviness.
Well, the fact that they are shadows tells you everything about them, because when they are the beautiful ones, you see them clearly. It's not shadows. So shadows, that's the number one indicator here, that we're dealing with something that's not pleasant.
Yeah.
And the way I had to deal with it is I was going through a funny patch where um, I wasn't in the mood that day. I wasn't in the mood for anyone or anything. I was in a very foul mood. And this thing came up to me, and I was thinking, that's the last thing I need. You know, and I told it, I used expletives. I'm not going to recount them here. I was in a really bad mood, and I said, get the hell out of my home, out of my life. And if you're going to do something, do it. Just get up.
Yeah.
And from that day, it vanished.
Because that's the best thing to do is show them that you're not afraid
Yeah,
and that you're in charge and you're home. You have to
well,
demand
you
they get
assert
out.
yourself. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
You're in command.
spiritual law.
This is your space.
Exactly. They said by spiritual law, that's what you tell them, by spiritual law, I command you to leave my
Yeah,
premises. You are not
absolutely.
allowed in my space
Yeah,
without my permission.
yeah,
Sometimes it works.
yeah,
Sometimes you might need a
absolutely.
little more help than that, but sometimes that works. It's helped for me. I've had that.
Absolutely. It has to be the way. And maybe a tad more firmer than the way you said, because you sounded too polite here.
I know I'm being nice. I'm on camera right now. I'm a little brattier off camera, trust me. We have another
Yeah.
question. Let me get my glasses. Hold on a minute. Okay, we have Kate. Did I miss someone? Oh, okay, Kate. I don't know why they make this so hard to read. I've had past life regression. I can see. I'm willing to share my story with you. Kate, I wish I could invite you on as well, but I don't think I can do. I don't know if I could do that without knocking Garo off. So what I suggest to do is make a post. We would love to hear your story. So if you make a post in the group, we have 600,000 people that will, at least 400,000 that are willing to read it. So we'd love to hear what you have to say. Uh, what else should we speak about, Garo? Have we? Any other?
Pets. You mentioned
Oh,
pets.
oh my gosh, yeah. Yes, that's so important. Let me just make sure there's no other questions here. If loved ones are always around, why during readings do they not show up? Cindy asked that. That's a good question, Cindy. Because they don't want to, or the medium's not real. That would be my my first reaction, because they usually really do want to show up, and maybe not so much that the medium's not real. Let me take that back. Sometimes you just don't connect well with the spirit. I could connect really well with my father, not so well with my mother. I don't know why it is, but sometimes that's the issue. What is your I'm sure you've had readings where you couldn't connect, Carol. Why do you think that is?
It happens. Um, on rare occasions, I might get a reason as to why it's happening, and I would feel like the gut instinct is telling me there is some unfinished business that needs to be done, either on the client side or on the spirit side. But there is something that needs to be addressed. Otherwise, the reading will not take place. But there are, the majority of times, I have no idea. I've had some beautiful people who have booked me for a session, and I sit there completely blocked. Nothing comes through. And yet there are times when I have to actually, I go into an overdrive when I'm speaking so fast because so much information is coming through. I have to pause to take a breath. So I don't know how it works and why it works this way.
And it just, and like Cindy, what I would suggest, if you've gone to mediums and you've gone to good mediums and you're still having that problem, is to really try to learn how to connect yourself, because you might have the best luck that way sometimes. That's That's been my experience too. I had a reading by you, and it was really interesting and good. I've had readings by so many mediums throughout my life, because I used to work for a psychic line, and part of my job was interviewing mediums and readers, tarot card readers, psychics. To my surprise, I probably interviewed hundreds, and maybe two were impressive. I'm sad to say.
Oh,
I'm very sorry to say that. You,
oh,
you're one of them. You know, the mediums that I have in my group are real. So I just want to let you guys know that, because I'm very picky. I don't like basic readings like, oh, I'm getting the initial J. You know, like there has to be some real solid proof for me to be impressed, and especially for people that are grieving. And I found that in you. I found that in Josh and Kathy. So that's why if you look in my the feature section, you can meet everybody there that I recommend, because I get a lot of people in my group asking me, who do you recommend? These are the people I recommend. And the group is so old. It's what, 8 years old, and I have three right now that I can recommend. So that says a lot too, you know.
thanks, Rita.
Oh,
There is another point to add to this, by the way. Uh, I fear that sometimes a client might come with certain expectations as to who they want to connect with.
definitely,
Uh,
even I do.
and someone else might show up.
Yeah,
I've had a lady once, for instance, and she was hoping to connect with her husband, but actually her dad came through and she disliked her dad. There was an issue there. And she was trying to interrupt the process. And I told her, I said, please, whoever comes through is a guest. And if he wasn't here, sorry, the fact that he's here is very relevant. And we need to take on board what he's got to share with us. And you know what, Rita, he came through and he wouldn't stop
yeah,
apologizing.
yeah. I was just gonna say, he was there to apologize.
Yes.
That's so important.
And that fulfilled the whole reading. And later she sort of understood and acknowledged. She left me a beautiful feedback as well. She understood that, oh, this is what her reading is about.
Yeah.
So,
That is
so
hard to, it's kind of hard to accept when you have your heart set on hearing from one person and
yeah,
other people come in. But I don't know why that is, but they're the ones that are stepping forward and being the most forceful. They really want to be heard. So
yeah,
maybe later on that the person you want to hear from might come through, or at another time, another reading. But yeah, that it's odd. But I also noticed too that men, this is just my opinion. Men seem stronger with coming through than women. My dad has no problem. My father will knock things over in the house. Like he will turn things on in the house. Um, every time I would do EVP, he's right there. He was right there every single time. My mother, not as much as my father. And I think it's just that her spirit is just she doesn't have the strength. My father was a very strong person on this side. He was like, well, he was just a very strong person. And it makes perfect sense to me that he comes through easier because his will is stronger, and maybe some of them are just better at it. You know, just like some of us on this side are mediums and some of us aren't. Some of us are better at connecting. Same thing on that side. Maybe they just haven't figured out yet how to really make that connection. And we miss a lot of signs too. So, or we doubt them. So that's
it's very
another thing.
interesting. It, it's very interesting how you put it. Very interesting.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm glad I'm interested. Pets. Let's get on to pets because that's another one. I think that's a really good topic. I know people always ask in the group. You'll see they enter the group and in 10 minutes they made a post. I just lost my dog. You'll see a lot of posts like that. If you go look now, you'll see so many. I just lost my dog. My dog just died in my arms last night. I'm crushed. That was my baby. I'm devastated. Will I see them again? Do they have a soul? Yes, they definitely do. Um, I on EVP, my father, I have recorded proof. So it's not just, you know, something I'm just saying. I always try to tell people what I know as proof from me that's been proven to me, not just um, the first. One of the first things my father told me is that he has my dogs with him. I have my father yelling at my dog to come back because on this side, my father was a character. On this side, he would take my pug, my little pug Gia. He would take her out for a walk, and he never listened to me. He was like a man child. He would just take her out without a leash, and I would yell at him, "You can't do that. Don't do that." And then when he moved to Vegas and he had his dogs, and I'd be on the phone with him, that's all you'd hear, him calling his dogs, "Regal, come back." I'm like, "Why are they not on a leash, Dad?" Same thing on the other side. I hear him yelling at my dog, "Come back, don't get hurt." I'm like, "Are you serious?" This is still happening. And I heard him say about someone, he was speaking to a spirit that I don't even know who he was speaking to. And I have the recording I could share with the group where he says, "That dog is Michael's, my husband. My husband's dog was staying with us. He decided to stay close to us, and my dog decided to live with my father." So I learned this stuff by EVP. This is not things that I would have just assumed that my dad took Chester, my husband's dog, and he took Gia, and they all live happily together. No, Chester has a mind of his own and decided he was going to live in our home still with us. His spirit stayed close to my husband, and my dad took my pug. So I have all this on recording. And I have Chester barking. So there's no better proof than that, than to pick up the spirit of a dog barking, your own dog. And I'm sure a lot of times they like to crawl on your bed. So I noticed that too, like you'll feel them. You'll feel pressure on your bed or your leg, like they're getting comfy on your bed still.
Absolutely. I've always admired and I love the animal kingdom. I've always admired pets, dogs, cats. I felt always that they are on a higher vibration than us humans.
They are.
And especially in the current state of things in the world, how people have digressed as opposed to progressed, I see that the animal kingdom has moved way beyond. And I think we will link with them, definitely.
Yeah.
But that is if we deserve them, because they are of a higher vibration. If we deserve them, if we've earned their love and trust, they will link with us. Through many of my readings, pets would come through.
I was just going to ask you.
Oh yeah, they do come through. I've had times when I actually feel that I've got a dog sitting right here opposite me and watching what's going on. I've had a feeling of a cat jumping across, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Now, I don't see them visually as we're seeing each other. I feel them more. It's quite interesting how I operate, but usually I get their characteristics. So if they are, and I share it with the client, and it gives them a lot of joy. Obviously, there's immense love from the people here to their pets. Oh yeah, we do link with them, and that is one of the.
We're gonna have like 50 pets on the other side. If you go from childhood to like I just imagine like, okay, how am I gonna fit all these? Look at this one coming. My dog is coming down. Say hi. Look at this. He knows we're talking about him. Look who came. This is Barbie. He's like, I think I'm talking about my sisters.
They are a piece of paradise, aren't they, Rita? I mean, we love them here, and we love them even more on the other side.
Well, they're so faithful and devoted. How can you not?
Absolutely, absolutely.
They love you no matter what, which is heartbreaking when you know that there's some that are abused out in this world and they still love their owner. They're just so loving. They're definitely on a higher vibration than we are, because they're just love. They're full of love.
Yeah.
The sweetest things.
And they're great healers as well. They know when you're down, they know when you need them, and they make themselves available for you. I had a lady come to visit me in the church a long time ago, and she had a pet gerbil, whatever it was, like a little pet, I can't remember now. And it was always sick for an inexplicable reason. She brought it with her. And when I picked up, as I was linking with her and the pet, I said, do you realize that the pet is sick because they're picking up from you? It's taking onto itself. It's taking your pain. It's taking your thing, because this lady had suffered tremendous abuse. And I said, when you can't cry, this is the thing it's doing. It's crying for you. So, so this was quite a revelation for me, an experience as
That makes
well.
sense. 'Cause I remember when I had gotten very sick years ago, when I still had Gia. It was very weird. I remember even telling people, like, I got arthritis, she got arthritis. Like, I'm talking in the same week. I got sick, very sick. She got very sick for the first time ever. And it was the only time that dog ever got sick. She never ever got sick, not even a stomach problem. And she lived till 18, just to tell you how healthy she was. But yeah, it is weird. They definitely pick up our emotions, our feelings. They're like little sponges. They know.
Yeah,
That's why we love them so much, because they're like they reflect back on us. You know what we're feeling, they pick up on it, and that's basically what we're all looking for, is to be understood and cared about. So that's, I think, why we have such a huge connection. They're just little gifts. They're really sweet. Let me see if I have questions. Hold on a second. Let me put my glasses back on. I'm sorry. I don't know why I take them off. I just hate them. I really need to get used to them. I just hate wearing them. Okay, you can see better though. Garo explained well that I think someone I wanted to connect with has unfinished business. Yes, Cindy. Um, so glad you're going to talk about pets. Yeah. Do you have any questions about them? And hi, Susan. Yep, no other questions. Just that. I think we covered a lot. If anyone has any other questions, I think uh, if not, we might wrap things up. It's Mother's Day tomorrow, and so I want to wish everybody happy Mother's Day. And for those grieving, you're in our hearts. I know it's a tough day for some as well. And happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers on the other side as well. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, Garo?
well, that's it from me. All I want to say before we leave is thank you, Rita. Thank you to the team. Um, and thank you to everyone, all the members on the Proof of Life group. I love all of you guys.
Yep.
You made me feel at home, part of a family, and I'm deeply honored to be in service of all of you guys. So thank you.
We love having you, so we thank you too.
Thank you.
And I did mention a few days ago that I was going to do some Reiki healing, and I'm very sorry I didn't get to do it before. I was going to do it before we spoke, so I just want everybody to know. You still have time to just put your name. I'll put another post up after we finish this, but I'm going to do some at midnight because I have to meditate first before I do it, and I want to make sure that it's good, that it's real there. So I didn't get a chance to meditate, and that's why I haven't done it yet. But I'm going to do it tonight, and I'll give everybody a chance to put their name in. I'll write your name on a piece of paper. That's how I do it when I do distance healing. So we'll do that.
Great.
You're welcome, guys.
I look.
Again, thank you. Let's see. My fiance committed suicide, and he comes in my dreams, but he never talks to me. That's not a visit, right? It could be a visit. It's just that you're not, he's probably talking to you telepathically, and you might not be remembering your dream or hearing it. That's from Cheryl, one of our mods. Did you have anything to say about that, Garo?
Um, this is very personal and unique to the person. I mean, it all depends. One thing I don't like to do is I don't like to give my opinion. Because
Yeah,
who am I to, I could be totally wrong here.
yeah,
So I try not to give an opinion. However, I would say if it happens again, try and ask your fiance as to why, or talk to me, tell me, or, or even a prayer before you sleep and ask that you actually be communicated with or to, or just get something going there. Okay?
yeah.
Who knows why it could be
Yeah.
happening.
I know some people have dreams and they're bad dreams. So I just want to tell you that's a dream. That's not a visitation. I just had a few of my father this week. And I just said out loud to him a few days ago, I haven't heard from you. So, once you get in my dreams, let's hang out. Because you're actually traveling when you dream. You're just on the other side hanging out. Um, Sometimes we're really just dreaming though. And I did ask for him, but they weren't real because they were scary and they were upsetting. So, like he was dying again in my dream. And that's not a visitation. When he comes, in as a visitation, it feels so real. It's almost like a 3D. It's just different. I could tell the difference. But I think when you have a visitation and then you have a regular dream, you might be able to tell the difference, like I do. I hope.
Very, very true. I agree. I've had visitations on rare occasions, and there is a big difference between them and a regular dream. Absolutely. You know in your soul that this was a real experience.
Yeah,
You know it inside.
yeah. And some people say that in our group too. This is you're contacting demons. Um, And, I just have to say to those people, I understand that you were brought up to believe that way, but I could tell I've had some spirits come through on EVP that weren't very nice, and I could absolutely tell the energy of them compared to my father's energy. I know my parents when I'm when I'm connected with them, I can tell the difference. And if I was counting demons, they were really nice demons because all they left me with was feelings of love and you know, like complete feeling, like I had a beautiful connection. So to me, that's not a demon. A demon's not going to make you feel loved and happy. So that's just, one thing I want to let people know. Somebody's saying something. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'll keep my glasses on this time, I swear though. Okay. Hi, Rita. Hi, Kurt and Anthony. Those are family. That's my family saying hi. They just moved to Arizona. Hope you guys love it there. I got, of course, my biggest fans are my family, my loved ones. And there's one more thing I want to say before we went because it was really interesting. And Kurt and Anthony, I've had experiences with them. They're very spiritual. They've had some interesting experiences with their loved ones too. So yeah, I know so many people that have, and it's just to me, it's remarkable. It's awesome that that for the ones that do have, we're so lucky that we get to have that because not everyone does. And my goal is to try to help everyone so that they also can have a connection and know that life goes on and that their loved ones are waiting for them. It's the most amazing feeling in the world. It's so important. One last thing I wanted to say that was interesting that people might find interesting because, wondering about reincarnation or what their kids experience. The one oddest thing that I've experienced is my granddaughter once looking at my wedding photo. Um, she was not born yet when I got married to my husband, Michael. And her little brother, was on the sand. We got married on the beach, and he was playing in the sand when he was supposed to be taking pictures with us. He was about 4 or 5, and he was just digging away in the sand. And my granddaughter looks at my wedding picture, which you cannot tell is that we got married on the beach from the wedding picture. It's just us in front of the cake. And she says, I remember that day, Mom. She calls me Mom. Um, and I said, you can't because you weren't here. And she's like, don't be silly. I was there. I was playing with Hayden. We played on the sand together. So
Wow.
your loved ones, before they're born, they know they're part of your family and they come and visit and hang out with you before they're even born. So that just blew me away. That's like the most
Wow.
amazing thing I've ever experienced. Because that's like a topic that no one ever thinks about talking about it. I've never even thought of this in my head, like that's even a possibility that we could, be on the other side and come visit future family. But she did, so that's pretty interesting to me. I just thought some people might be interested in that, in hearing that.
That's a remarkable story. That's incredible. It's the first time I hear of something like
Yeah,
this.
amazing. And she's very in tune too. She's kids are amazing. The things that they come up with, and Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Going, there's no way. And her mother had said she saw Mary, Mother Mary, when she was little, is how she explained it. Saved her from a Rottweiler next door while she was out in the backyard. She said Mother Mary came down from the sky and stopped the dog from biting me, from getting through. And she didn't know who Mother Mary was. She was just about 5 years old. And I, although I do believe, I am not someone who goes to church, and I wasn't, you know, teaching her religion or anything. So the fact that she knew that was very interesting. And the way she said she was like, kind of like the way she was floating down, I can't show you, but like floating down gently with her hands. I'm sure there's a lot of people in the group that have had similar experiences with crazy things that their kids say. Just keep in consideration that it might not really be crazy. It's, you know, they're having some real experiences.
You know, it's made me think from what you've just said here, with the purity of children, their attunement, and all that is logical to them, even though it's illogical to us.
Yes.
And we've spoken about pets and how sensitive and advanced they are. Put these two together, I think the world would be a better place if people give less importance to these scientists who created nuclear bombs, weapons that kill people,
Yeah.
chemicals that harm people. Of course, they do good things as well, but there's
Yeah.
also that element.
They're not
And I,
always right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there is to give more weight to this side of life. We can learn from children. We can learn from pets. There's so much to learn here.
Yeah.
And
I,
sorry,
was it Stephen Hawk? Is that his name? The man in the wheelchair? The very
yes, Stephen
intelligent
Hawking.
guy. Hawk. He said there's his final. What is I'm always losing words. He said there's no afterlife. Um, I found that really interesting because he is known as one of the most intelligent men. And I joke with my husband that I'm smarter than him, although we know I'm not. But just because I had the EVP and I know for a fact that there are spirits and there is an afterlife, and that blows me away that someone that intelligent, like, how do you not know? It's out there, like the information is here, like, you know, EVPs are here, there's mediums, there's proof. I just, it blows me away that it's not so well known yet, but we really need to get it more well known. So, because this is so important for people to, you know, to know this and be able to make those connections, and, you know, maybe we could evolve somehow and get better at it, you know, and I feel like that's coming in the near future.
It is coming, Rita. It is changing. I have no less than 14 people from the medical world who are from my people, as it were, like clients or whatever. So doctors, I've got at least 2 or 3 scientists who have consulted with me, who are open-minded. So they're coming out of their comfort zone and embracing something which is alien to them, but I give them full credit and I admire them for at least having an open mind here.
Yeah.
The one good thing is I once had an exchange with a scientist, and this guy was saying there is no afterlife. I said, well, I believe that there is. He said, can you prove it? I said to him, can you disprove it?
Yeah. Yeah, okay,
And I said,
disprove.
well, you can disprove it, then I'll prove it for you. He said, well, I can't disprove it. I said, then why are you saying that there isn't?
Yeah.
You've just contradicted yourself.
Yeah.
If you can't
We
disprove
can't
it,
see
then you
breath in front of us unless it's cold in the right elements. So that's how I see this too. You have to be in the right element to prove it to yourself. Then we don't see
yeah,
our breath, right? But it's there. We're breathing, so the air in front of us.
it's very
It's
true.
awesome. Yeah. And I'm just going to check for any more questions before we go. I'll probably just wrap this up. I don't see any, so I think we'll wrap it up now. And I want to thank you so much, Garo. You're so much fun to talk to, and I'm glad that we had the opportunity to let people get to know you guys. If you look in the featured section, Garo, you'll see some information about Garo there. He's an amazing reader. I highly recommend him. And he's such a sweet, humble person, and I believe that's the main ingredients of a really good medium is someone that you can trust and is just so loving. And you'll find that with Garo, I promise you. And
Thank you. That's an honor. Thank you.
yeah, we love you. And again, the Reiki thing I'm going to do later. So just I'm going to make a little post after we hang up. Just put your name if you want me to send some Reiki energy. If you are a Reiki, if you do Reiki, you could do it with me. Let's send some energy together. It's always nice to have that extra push. I want to thank everybody for coming. You guys are so sweet. We love you. And we'll do this again soon. Thank you, Garo. Have a good
Bye-bye.
night.
Thank you.
Bye bye, everyone.